that he could ever do. To go in the East Room, which is sacred, have a staged rally. Notice that all of those youngsters had caps on. It was almost like we're going to dress you for the photo. And to call it a Young Black Leaders Summit, he raves about the violence in Chicago, which he should. Why weren't they discussing that? Why weren't they discussing student loans? Why weren't they discussing issues of young blacks? They just had Kanye in there at least talking about criminal justice. None of that. They're in there talking about CNN sucks. They're in there talking about build a wall. So why do you need a Young Black Summit to do it? Because it was not a summit. It was a Make America Great rally. They used some young blacks as props, which really is an insult to them. There are black Republicans that have some dignity and have some issues they want to discuss. There's nothing wrong with those young blacks wanting to be Republican, but it is something wrong with them being used as props so that he can take his shots against the media on a day that we watch CNN and others have to deal with bomb squads out in front of their door.
Let's talk about Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton has some things to say about, you and the others in particular. What was it that Al Sharpton had to say?
Well, Al Sharpton was on MSNBC. And first of all, before I get to Al Sharpton, I want to kind of break off a little bit because this is important.
Okay.
It was a segment on MSNBC. Now, you had, I think it might have been 4 people in total. You had this white woman, this black dude that worked for theroot.com. You know all about that, don't you? And it was another white guy. So you had white woman, white guy, black guy, and then styling Al Sharpton. The white woman went first, and she was kind of offended at how we were behaving in the East Room.
East Room is where President John F. Kennedy's body lay in repose, along with the bodies of, I believe, 6 other American presidents after they died. I have never seen it house a crowd chanting fake news, chanting CNN sucks. I wonder if there's a string to be drawn between the political discourse and the conduct of groups that go to the White House.
This is a room that's sacred. People were buried here. Wars were announced here, but they were in like a MAGA rally. She was basically trying to say we were too rambunctious. So you got this white lady talking about how rambunctious we were in the East Room, disrespecting it, right? But she's not called racist. She's not called anything else. She could be one of these people that will call the police on you. You could call her East Room Emily, but it's all right because she's a liberal. Nobody said anything about that. Just let that go. Imagine if that was Sarah Huckabee Sanders talking about black liberals in that same situation, saying, how could they do this? This is a sacred room. Mm-hmm. They were in there acting up, dancing like it's a party. This, that, and the third. Racist. Get out of here. She need to get fired. She need to go to jail. You're gonna go to a restaurant, interrupt her, this, that, and the third. But to move to Al Sharpton, skip past the other guys. Okay. Al Sharpton was saying things that were totally untrue. First thing, he was saying that we got paid. Nobody got paid to be there. We did get our travel paid and the room paid. That's not the same thing as being paid. If you're paid, that's like, all right, I need you to come do this job, and I'm going to give you X amount of money in your pocket. You can go spend it on an iPhone, Jordans, or whatever. Nobody got any money. It was kids that couldn't even afford clothes. Like they had to get clothes donated to them to go to the White House, to be presentable in the White House. Now, if you're getting paid, then why would you be wearing like hand-me-down stuff, flea market, thrift store type stuff just to go to the White House, be presentable? You're wearing hand-me-downs from your grandmother and stuff like that. If you're being paid, then why was I in the airport with my hat on? It was this lady that tried to say that we were getting paid from this ad. And I don't know if you've seen that on Facebook. It was this lady that had the picture of this ad that says something about it was a Craigslist Arizona ad. And it said that they would pay people $15 an hour to go out and hold signs and stuff like that. And then she posted our pictures with that ad. It was funny. A friend of hers on that particular page, and I know that it was her friend because he posted on it and I can't post on it, which means either she closed the comments after a little bit, which does not make any sense because his comment was the only one on there, or he's her friend. He said, I saw him at the airport. He's from Chattanooga. I talked to him at the airport when I was in DC. I saw him outside. So he knows that that's false. I was in the airport with my hat on. I got videos with my hat on prior to this. People making up lies. Maybe Al Sharpton saw that and just ran with it. Then he was saying, they just put hats on them. They just dressed them for that. For real? I mean, There's evidence of all of us having our hats long before that. It ain't like they're treating us like we're children. Now we can't even dress ourselves. We can't even do anything for ourselves. It's gonna put red hats on us and just force us to go into the White House. Why would anybody that's black go into the White House unless they were getting some kind of stupid amount of money? And even if it was a big amount of money, they still probably wouldn't do it. And even if they did, it wouldn't be this overwhelming enthusiasm for the president like what was going on in the East Room. That energy was real. Anybody that was there could have felt it. If you saw the footage, you can see it. And he was saying that, it wasn't a summit, it was just a party or a rally. Mm-hmm. The summit lasted from Thursday to Sunday. We were in there on Friday morning. This is just one piece. This is just one of 4 days of the actual summit. This dude is just totally wrong, talking out his hind parts, low information, just trying to crap all over the event because he wants everybody to be on a Democratic plantation. He don't want nobody to just be a Trump supporter, to be free thinking and independent. He wants everybody to be right where he wants them to be. He's like an overseer trying to keep you right where you are.
I see. So when you heard this from Al Sharpton, I mean, we all know Al Sharpton has no business saying anything. I mean, he's a damn FBI informant. What was your feeling about Al Sharpton trying to criticize, those of you? I know I saw Brandon Tatum's video was filled with a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Brandon Tatum made a really good video about that. I know Leo Dunson made a video about it, but what was your feelings towards Al Sharpton and what he had to say?
I mean, I wasn't surprised that he said it, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's amazing how you can get on TV and lie, just straight lie, and not even have any kind of nobody check you on it, nobody care. I mean, the lies were just crazy. Talking about it wasn't all you got to do is do a little bit of research. Just Google it. Google Young Black Leadership Summit, and you will see the schedule. You will see how long it is. You will see everything. He didn't do anything. All he did was just formulate an opinion about us and then pontificate on that without any facts. This is what happens on the news way too much, and then the other guy, he was from The Root talking about, I don't know what he called this, dumb or uneducated or something.
These are lost, disturbed, self-loathing people who are part of a personality cult for a president who calls for domestic terrorism and a destruction of every norm that makes this country great.
Just really silly stuff. Like their whole job was just to crap all over the event, act like it wasn't anything, try to downplay it rather than being what a pro-black should be. It doesn't even matter if you are left, right, center, or whatever. You should appreciate 400 young people. You're talking about kids that were in college. One guy drove from Texas, 24 hours drove, him and the buddy, because he could not afford a plane ticket to get reimbursed later. He couldn't afford it up front. So him and a friend drove to Texas. You had kids that were like 13, 14 there with their parents. I mean, all of that. You're totally ignoring this whole situation. You're totally ignoring how positive it was. It was no kind of incidents, no kind of violence. It was all love. It was all good. You don't want to acknowledge that. You just want to go into damage control mode. What it really is that he is afraid. Mm-hmm. He is afraid, and other Democrats are afraid, because shout out to Candace Owens. She gave me this point a while back. She was saying that if the Democrats secure less than 85% of the black vote, they're finished nationally. They could still win some local things, yes, but presidential, they can't do it anymore. They're trying to groom Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, people like that, but it ain't going to work. These people are weirdos. They got skeletons in their closet. Mm-hmm. Cory might be a homosexual. I mean, it's just too much stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Trump is going to be the incumbent. You can't beat him. And if he decided he didn't want to run, you could put Mike Pence in there. He'd still win. There's nobody on their side that they have. And on top of that, you got black folks, their most loyal for no reason voter base dwindling. They saw it dwindle in the last election by a little bit. That right there has them that scared to the point where they throw out an Al Sharpton, a Michael Eric Dyson, a Roland Martin to try and disrupt, to try and